There's been a lot going on lately. A lot. Like, way too much. And I haven't really done a Friday catch-up show in a while, and I miss doing those, and I don't know why I stopped. But that's what I'm going to do today. What have I been up to in the last couple months? Yeah. So buckle up. We're going to talk about what's going on today's episode of Project Shadow.
Can you hear me? I have something to say. Project Shadow starts now.
Hello everyone, how are you doing today? My name's Charlie. You might know me better as sci-fi fantasy writer C.E. Dorset. And yeah, we're doing a Fiction Friday episode where I kind of talk about what's been going on with me and my writing and my work and my life. And yeah, I miss doing these. I don't know. I said it before, but I don't know why I stopped. I think it was because with everything going on in the world right now, and I don't want to talk about it too much because we all know the current state of the world as it's burning down around us. But I just tried to stay focused on other things. I did not want to really be paying attention to what I was getting done and what I wasn't getting done. And while I have done some updates about, not hitting my goals in April and being quite fine with it, yeah, there's been a lot going on. And I think that's true for all of us. So, for those of you who don't know, my husband Brian and I, we own a restaurant in the middle of nowhere, which was a smart business decision to make. But he worked there. The owner was either going to sell it to him or close it down, and we ended up buying it quite a few years back. And, what people don't understand about restaurant ownership is, if you have $2 million and you want to make $1 million, you open a restaurant and watch your money go away. So it's been a struggle for us to, keep going through everything. We've owned it through the last financial crisis, and here we are already in another one, and we haven't fully recovered from the last one. So yay, that's going to be fun. We were considered an essential business, so we didn't get to close during the lockdown. So my husband had to go in every day to work because he felt he couldn't ask other people to show up to work if he didn't. And so that has brought a lot of worry and concern into my life that I didn't need, or want to ask for. But, it was the right thing to do. And my father's been ill, and he just got out of the hospital, and he's fine. He's fine. I actually spent most of the day hanging out with him today, socially distanced. We sat 6 feet apart outside, but, it was good to get caught up with him. He's doing fine, but that was really, really weighing on me a lot because he was supposed to go in for surgery just before the lockdown happened, and the lockdown started 2 days before his surgery, and so he couldn't have it. So they actually scheduled it for the first day the lockdown ended, because I live in one of those states. So he's fine. He's home from the hospital. He's up. He's moving around. He's fine. He's fine. But I'm not. I'm not. And that's okay. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this episode. When I titled it Finding Our Way Forward, because we will. I have faith not in powerful people or people who believe that they're powerful. I have faith in people to organize and to take care of each other, because throughout my life, I've seen it demonstrated that when push comes to shove, we will look out for each other. I saw it when I lived in Oakland. I've seen it all over the country. We will make it through whatever's going before us. But it's been rough. My imagination is not firing on all cylinders right now because my depression is trying to reassert itself. It's trying very hard to reassert itself. And I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm doing okay. But the energy levels that I should have are just not there. I mean, the ability to focus isn't what it should be. And a lot of that's the anxiety. So we have gone on kind of a news fast for about a week now, and I'm doing better. I think we're both doing better. And that makes it difficult to do a lot of things. Especially because there isn't a lot of news that's interesting to talk about. So I have been focusing my efforts and energy where I can. And I don't want to give too much away, but I am probably in the next couple weeks going to be launching up to 3 new podcasts. And I'm very excited about it. I am extremely excited about it. It's actually one of the reasons why I titled this episode the way that I did, because I didn't want to say announcing new podcasts, because honestly, I wanted to talk to the people who actually care. And that may seem weird, but I know that the listenership goes down when I title episodes like that, and it's those of you who actually care about what's going on that listen. And I thought this would be the easiest way for me just to tell you all. So these are going to be weekly podcasts. So, and they're going to be, for the most part, pre-recorded. That's kind of one of the rules that I've set up for myself here, is that I'm allowed to do it if and only if I can plot out a season's worth of episodes up front. And that's 14 episodes per season, and get them figured out and pre-recorded. Once the 14th episode is done, then that podcast will be scheduled and put out. And I'm very excited about this project because, like I said, my imagination isn't really cooperating with me right now. And I find that really troubling. So this is something I can still do. And I think it's important for us to learn what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are. And I have to be doing something. I'm not one of those people that can just lounge about, or I will fall into the precipice and I will find it very hard to get myself back out of it. And so trying to figure out what to do has been a struggle. And that's kind of where this idea of podcasting came from, because it's something that I love to do. And I thought certain things that I've done have been popular enough that they might actually warrant spinning off into their own shows. And so that's kind of the goal with everything that I'm doing right now. I'm not promising that I'm going to keep all of them going. They are going to be full seasons. And I'm just going to kind of look and see what happens. If people like them, then I will start planning season 2s and go from there. See, unlike this podcast, which I just love, and I'm going to be continuing it through this entire process, I like being able to talk about whatever I want to here. Because that's what I've always done. I don't blog. I don't really do things on social media, which I know a lot of you have noticed. But I do these shows, and I enjoy doing these shows. So I'm not planning on getting rid of Project Shadow, and it's going to kind of remain what it is, where it's whatever is going on. It will have reviews when there's stuff worthy of a review. It will have, the regular content that you've become accustomed to here. But I have some more programmatic content that I think would be really interesting to do that I don't think would fit here. And that's where the idea for these other shows have come from. And like I said, I'm not attached to them. So if I put them out and absolutely nobody cares, well then, okay. Tried it, it didn't work, move on to the next. And I think that's a good idea. I think that's a strong position to be coming from. Because each one of these shows is a passion project. Each one of these shows is kind of a show I wish I had, and I think would have helped me out a lot on various things. And some of them are going to be very fandom oriented, because I don't do a lot of that on Project Shadow itself, which I'm probably going to be going back to that much more in the future. But others are going to be, very specific to writing and stuff like that, because, I enjoyed doing the world building seminar, as we were calling it, that I did on this podcast. And I really enjoyed it. And I got a lot of good feedback from you all about it, that you all really enjoyed it too. But, the majority of the audience for this show was not the happiest with it. And that's sad. That made me unhappy. I want to be doing shows that work for you all as well as for me. So I feel like giving that kind of show, that kind of series, a home is important. I think it's something that I should do, and try to keep this show more lighthearted and open and more conversational, because that's what Project Shadow has always been. I mean, we started, for the most part, as a community show. We started as a call-in show way, way, way back in the day. And it has always been that kind of place for conversation in a very, community-oriented kind of show. And whether that's literally talking with you all, or just talking about what's going on in fandom or in society in general, or what's going on with us, it's worked for that. And I kind of want to keep it to that. So I'm not going to say too much, but I will say that if you would like to shape the future of the shows that I'm working on, now is the time to do that. I will be announcing on Project Shadow as each one of these new shows comes out. I will be playing the trailer for you on this show so that you all know about the new stuff as I'm doing it and all that. But if you have any writing questions, I would love to hear them. If you have any Star Trek questions, I would love to hear them. If you have any fandom specific question or topics that you would like to hear me discuss, there's a couple things that I've been really wanting to do. I've had a show idea for a while, and I have kind of dabbled with it on this podcast, but I have for a while contemplated doing a serialized show, a seasonal show, very specifically about looking at sci-fi from an LGBTQ perspective, but it's been tricky figuring out exactly how I want to do that. So if you all have any ideas that wise, that would be wonderful. Because, while I have over here in my work journal, I have a couple seasons of a couple shows already completely worked out that I'm going to try and move forward on. There's some other things that I want to do as well. So I'm, as always, kind of relying on you all to kind of direct me into what you want to hear from me and where you want my time and energy to go. And don't worry, I'm still working on the fiction. I actually have big plans for the fiction, and I am pushing forward on it. It's not coming at a rate that I am happy with. I'm not writing like I want to be writing. Normally I can do 2,000 to 3,000 words a day, like no effort required. I mean, I sit down, I do them in hour sprints, 3 hours, 3,000 words. I'm good. I move on with my day. I'm fairly good about that. But here lately, it's the inside of my head when it comes to the creative aspect has just been empty. And so I've been trying to fill it lately. I've been listening to a lot of music. I've been kind of jotting down a lot of notes and playing around with ideas on how I want these stories to develop and trying to get those fires stoked again. Because the anxiety and the worry and the depression have really eaten the core of my creativity out of me in a lot of ways, which is why I'm focusing really heavily right now on doing these other kinds of podcasts so I can keep moving forward and not feel like I'm treading water, because that to me is the most dangerous part of this whole thing, and one of the reasons why I hope you've stuck around to this point. Because I've learned over the years, the one thing that I cannot allow myself to do is tread water. I cannot give up. I have to fight. I have to fight. I have to fight for everything that I want in this life. And I think that's true for all of us. And a big part of that is, while the stories that I'm wanting to tell are not flowing at the rate that I want them to be right now, and because of the nature of the world, the stories that I have written, I don't feel like it's an appropriate time to put them out into the world. It would be easy for me to just kind of tread water and like, I'll get through this, and I will. But if I'm not working on something, if I'm not filling that time with something that is meaningful to me. See, this isn't about being productive. It's about having focus. It's about finding my voice in these times. And that's more than anything else what I am working on doing. One of the podcasts that'll come as no surprise to you all is I'm going to reboot the Band from Argo podcast. I had decided to do that, and then Star Trek became extremely frustrating for me, and I wasn't having fun with it. So I have a full 14 episode season of Band from Argo planned out that I'm hoping to record, and if you want the episodes that are there, you need to download them now, because I'm going to take down what's there and replace it. I'm completely rebooting that podcast from episode 1. I'm going to keep the cover art because I love the cover art. But I'm going to be definitely doing that. And I'm just going to have fun with it. It's actually going to be it's the one thing I've tried very hard not to do on this podcast, and that is make every episode about Star Trek Picard and what I would have done. So if you want to know what my version of Star Trek Picard would have looked like, that's going to be the new Band from Argo. And I'm really excited about it. And I hope people listen to it, and I hope people like it. But It's stuff I really need to get off my chest. So that's one of the podcasts that I'm working on. But, we'll get through this. We will. It's really hard for me as I'm sitting here talking to you, knowing that my husband is at a restaurant. I mean, he's wearing a mask. We've socially distanced everything. And, we're doing our best. But it's hard. It's hard. Because, I want him to be fine. I want us to be fine. I want everyone to be fine. And I'm an overly empathic person in many ways. So, yeah. Anywho, that's my future. And if you're going to come along with the ride with me, that's your future. And I hope I inspired you to keep moving forward on whatever your projects are. And even if they're not exactly what you want to be doing right now, hopefully you can find something that is meaningful to you. Because productivity is not the answer to the problem we're currently facing. Meaning is. Purpose is. At least for me. If you have any questions, comments, or topics you'd like to hear discussed either on this show or any of those future shows that I am doing, in the show notes you'll find a link to the voice message system. Keep it short, keep it clean. I would love to hear from you. You can also hit me up on social media. I'm C.E. Dorset on both Twitter and Instagram, and you can find links to everything that I do over at projectshadow.com. Also, if you have a buck you can pass my way, it really does help out more than you know. In the show notes, you'll find a link to both listener support and my Patreon. Anything you can do really helps out. Thank you to everyone who does that. If you don't have any money right now or you don't feel like giving, that's perfectly all right. But if you know anybody you think would like anything that I'm doing, please share it with them. That helps out more than you know. Alrighty. I promise they're not all going to be like this. I had a long day today, and yeah, I'm kind of in this headspace, and I thought it was useful information for you. So until next time, don't forget to have the fun. Bye.